Today, we're diving into one analysis of Vladimir Putin's recent state visit to India. It's a trip that this source describes as a total masterclass in geopolitics. And the central claim? Well, it's that Putin had already outplayed the entire Western world before his plane even landed. So let's get into it.
Right off the bat, the analysis we're looking at makes this incredibly bold claim that Putin had already locked in a strategic victory against the West before his plane even touched down in Delhi. A checkmate, as the source calls it, that was designed to completely change the global conversation.
So what exactly does the source mean by a checkmate? Well, the whole argument comes down to three key announcements. Three moves it claims completely blindsided Western powers and set the stage for the entire visit before a single handshake took place.
According to this analysis, this checkmate had three parts. First, a major play in the media space, launching RT India to push a narrative that directly challenges the Western media story. Second, a huge move toward financial independence, setting up direct Rupee-Rubble trade, which is a massive step away from the dollar. And third, locking down energy security, with sweeping, long-term deals that are about way more than just oil.
Okay, and this is where the analysis says things shift from just pure strategy to really powerful symbolism. The argument here is that the optics of Putin's arrival, how it all looked, were just as calculated as the deals themselves. It was all about sending a very specific message to the rest of the world.
And to really hammer home just how much global attention was on this visit, the source points to a pretty stunning statistic. At its peak, Putin's flight was the most tracked flight in the entire world, with over 1,700 people every single second following its path online. The analysis holds this up as undeniable proof of his global importance, a direct challenge to any Western attempts to isolate him.
And then the analysis zooms in on this major break from the diplomatic playbook. Instead of just sending some minister to greet the plane, Prime Minister Modi went himself, waiting right there at the bottom of the stairs. This is framed as something totally different, not a state reception, but one friend personally welcoming another. And right after that, a private dinner, just for the two of them.
And then there was this moment. You can forget the formal handshake. The two leaders shared what the source calls, over and over again, a bear hug. That one gesture, broadcast by cameras all over the globe, is presented as this incredibly powerful visual statement, a symbol of an alliance that's built on real warmth, something that goes way beyond normal diplomacy.
All right, so let's get down to the actual deals. Beyond all the symbolism, the analysis details several huge strategic agreements that it argues aren't just business deals, they're absolute game changers for both countries and for the global balance of power. The analysis lays out a whole suite of critical deals. We've already touched on the media and finance moves, but it also points to massive agreements in defense co-production, deep space cooperation for India's really ambitious manned space mission, and huge infrastructure projects that are designed to literally connect the two economies.
And this right here shows you the real-world impact. The source highlights this new north-south transport corridor, a trade route connecting Russia and India through Central Asia. By completely bypassing Europe, it claims this new corridor will slash shipping times by 40% and cut costs by over 30%. It's basically a new economic superhighway outside of Western influence.
This is where the analysis really gets into the strategic genius of it all. It argues that the move to a dollar-free system could eventually pull almost 27% of the world's GDP out from under the dollar's influence. And at the same time, building an Indian-owned fertilizer plant in Russia, that's framed as this incredibly clever workaround. It gets to use super cheap Russian gas, but because the plant is Indian-owned, it's shielded from any potential Western sanctions on Russia.
So, with all of these huge moves being made, how did the West react? Well, according to this analysis, the response was pretty much what you'd expect. A potent mix of shock, a little bit of panic, and a whole lot of condemnation.
The source claims Putin just completely shut down any Western criticism with this one simple question. By pointing out that the US itself is still buying Russian uranium, he basically exposed any criticism of India for buying Russian oil as, in the source's view, total hypocrisy.
The analysis we're breaking down paints a picture of a West that's totally reeling. It describes Washington as panicking and points to headlines in Europe that were accusing India of betraying democracy. The ultimate claim here is that the West was simply outplayed, totally unable to fight back against the powerful story that was being told during this visit.
So what's the big picture here? What does this all add up to? According to this source, this visit wasn't just about some trade deals and a few photo ops. No, This was a fundamental statement about the future of global politics.
The ultimate conclusion from this analysis is that this moment signals the end of an era. The source uses the Hindi term dadagiri, which basically means bullying or dominance, to argue that the time of unchallenged American power, where the U.S. could just call all the shots, is officially over.
So in the source's view, the entire visit, from tracking the flight to that bear hug to all the strategic deals, it all served one single purpose: to deliver a massive reality check to the West. It was a clear signal that powerful nations like Russia and India, a leader of the global South, just can't be isolated or told what to do anymore.
And so this analysis leaves us with one huge question. Does this one visit, this one hug, truly represent a fundamental shift in global power? Was this the moment, as the source argues so forcefully, that a new multipolar world order became impossible to deny? That's really the question at the heart of this whole thing.